So I am Hersakona Kolfina in Kira. I am one of the folks who's been working on the AMP team. I'm also currently our ER Kingdom Web ER Web Minister, and I am the Baroness of Bringelad and Lady of Hellsgate. So you may have been seeing my name around. But today I am here to talk to you about AMP, and for everyone. All right, I think I got my slides sharing. Can folks see them? I see a thumbs up. All right, let's dive in. So this is going to be everything you need to know about AMP, specifically AMP version 1.4. That is the version that has released officially as of this weekend. So if you were to log into AMP, all the features you're seeing are in AMP 1.4. So today in this class, I'm going to talk about what is AMP, if you've never used it before, or you just, oh, what is this thing? I'm going to talk about what does it do. I'll give you a high-level rundown of each of the major modules. Those module rundowns are not going to be things that you need to memorize as a basic user, but it'll just kind of give you a sense for the scale and scope of what all AMP can do. And if you're, taking offices or doing other jobs in the future, these may be things that you'll encounter. I'm going to give a brief mention of AMP features for marshals. A lot of our folks in the populace are also marshals, so this kind of felt like appropriate to cover here. I will mention kind of our special user types and AMP features that they have access to, just so that you can know. And the last thing I'll talk about is what's coming up next for AMP. And then the rest of it will be time for Q&A. So I'm going to start with lecture and slides. I'm then going to go into a live demo. So I'll actually click through and show you what I'm talking about. And then we'll close it up and leave everything for questions. Sound good? We're doing it. Just to frame our expectations, I'm not going to go do any demos or walkthroughs of special users, local seneschals, seated nobility, great officers, or any sort of nitty-gritty back-end developer information. If the thing you want to learn about is like how to program and code in AMP, this is not the class for that. But if you reach out to the AMP team, we can hook you up later. So we've got lots of documentation. So first of all, what is AMP? AMP is Ansteorra's management portal. It, makes Ansteorra's administration simple, centralized, and secure. It is an open source project, and our team is always looking for folks who want to help us do the code or test things, kick the tires, try and find the bugs before we release, or help us with development or design. Again, that's something you can reach out to the AMP team via our Discord server. It's the best way to get in touch with that. If you would like to get your hands inside behind the scenes, or if you know someone who might. AMP currently is required to, folks, if you're an officer, a marshal, or a fighter, you're required to have an AMP account, because AMP is the system that we use to manage warrants and authorizations. But we recommend that everybody learn what AMP does, because there's a good chance you're gonna have to do something in it at some point. The main modules that we have in AMP are user accounts, marshal activities, award recommendations, offices, warrants, and then brand new with this release is the waivers module and gatherings. And just in case you've never been, you visit AMP by going to amp.ansteorra.org, and then you can log in or register as a new user, and I'm going to do a demo of going through that here shortly. So let's talk about briefly what do each of these modules do. So user accounts, this is kind of where all the basic functionality that you're as a first-time user are probably going to encounter. This lets us have our user accounts, secure user data, and PII, personally identifiable information, both according to SCA policy and best practices just when it comes to data management. It allows you to configure your profile, add additional information like court preferences, and it gives you the interface to view your profile, history of offices, history of authorizations, and submit award recommendations. Next big module is the Marshal Activities module. This is what everyone in the kingdom can use to request a new authorization. And it's the module that allows our marshals and authorizing marshals and kingdom marshal officers to view and approve or deny authorization requests. They get an action item queue, so they get a little icon at the top of their menu that says, hey, you've got authorizations that need to be reviewed. And it allows our kingdom officers to generate like the authorization roster and department roster, authorization rosters that get submitted for reporting purposes. Award recommendations is another big one that everybody can use. This module lets everybody submit awards. It currently supports submitting awards all the way from the kingdom to the principality and to our local or baronial, like non-armigerous awards. And it does have permission scope so that only folks appropriate nobility can view appropriate awards. So, you know, as Baroness of Bringelod, I can't go look at recommendations for the barony of Lochsollier. Nor can I look at recommendations that have gone to the crown. Like, crown can see crown things, barony can see barony things. And it's got a nice interface to track the status of awards, schedule them for event, and even export stuff for court prep. So there's a lot of neat things behind the scenes for awards. And because this was a nice feature that we wanted to make sure was in here, the award recommendations module also prevents the deletion of any award recommendations. They are in there for good. Offices. Officers in Ansteorra use this module to keep track of current and previous offices held. At the local seneschal level, it lets them appoint and release deputies, either, you know, just seneschal deputies or event stewards that will be deputies of the seneschal for their term as steward. Regional and kingdom officers use this module to appoint or release officers in their department. And this is good to note because if you expect, or if you've been hired into an office, but it's not reflected on your AMP profile, that should signal to you to poke the upline and say, hey, my AMP profile doesn't show my office. Let's get that resolved. In the event that somebody gets released from an office, and the same goes for denying authorization requests, officers are required to provide a reason, which will be visible to the person who's being released. Just another little opportunity for accountability there. Warrants. Great officers in the crown use AMP, kind of in combination with the offices module, to generate warranting rosters and submit them to the crown every 6 months. So that will happen probably today. AMP, before AMP, we had all the rules of, in order to be warranted, you must have all this information on file. AMP actually allows us to ensure that that is true. So we've got a way to validate that when we're warranting somebody, we're actually following society policy, which is really cool. And the warrants module also, like if your membership expires, the module will basically remove special permissions that you might have been granted from your office until you can get that back up to date. So it actually enforces you don't have the authority to do these things unless you have an active warrant. We're on new module, waivers. Hopefully y'all have all been in meetings today and have heard us in the AMP team speaking the great word of the new updates. But the waivers module will add features that are available to warranted local officers. So your seneschal, your landed nobility if you got them, marshal officers, thrown weapons marshal, archery marshal, things like that. And the waiver secretary are all going to have kind of an interface to this module. And so at the local level, it lets our warranted officers upload waivers via desktop or mobile. Mobile app is going to be the best way to do it because it's convenient. So that when you get to the end of your fighter practice, you can pull up AMP, snap a picture of your waiver, and upload it into the AMP, and it'll send it straight to the waiver secretary, and they will know what activity, what group. They'll have a PDF secured image of the forms and an awesome dashboard to track that. It's very exciting if you love streamlining paperwork. In combination with the waivers, we also have the gatherings module. This is one that if you log in today, you're going to have a new option in your menu to view gatherings in AMP. When I say gathering, this is the overall term that we decided on that means any official SCA activity. So weekend events, local practices, marshal activities, local revels, crafting nights. We needed a general term to say all of these things, and both activities and events were taken. So we went with gathering, and so far it's been working pretty well as a collective noun. Local seneschals and the Kingdom Calendar Deputy currently will be able to create and manage gatherings in AMP. And you, as a basic user, will be able to view gatherings in AMP. You'll be able to mark your attendance. So if it's a weekend event, a Kingdom event, you can say, oh, I'm planning to go. And also let the nobility know. I'll do a demo of that and talk a little bit more about what that does behind the scenes. And this is a new module that's come out, and so the focus right now is going to be, creating gatherings that might need waivers, because that's the big problem that we're trying to tackle with this. But the module itself, gathering, has a lot of really cool features that I will show through, because we want to encourage folks to explore it and see how it's working, because we're planning to add some more features in the future releases. So that's high-level overview. What is AMP? What are the big modules in it? So let's talk about AMP for every user. So this is one slide that just lists all the features that you'll have in your user account. I'm going to do a demo of all of these. But everything from viewing your profile, editing your personal information on your profile, submitting award recommendations, viewing your current offices, previous offices, authorizations, viewing gatherings, and then the new and improved mobile app and mobile menu, where you can now easily from mobile submit authorization requests, upload waivers if you're a warranted officer. If you're not a warranted officer, you won't have to worry about waivers. And then it also lets you hop back and forth between desktop view and mobile, which is convenience that I personally love. Okay, so this slide deck is going to be available on the AMP resource page. It's also available in the Kingdom Library, and it has in here, you can click to play a demo of all of these features. But since I'm here in the class, I'm just going to do it live. So let me tab over to actually, let me stop my share and instead share a different screen. And I haven't heard any questions or things, but if folks have something to ask about while I'm changing screens, you can let me know. Yeah, Kenna.
So just to double check, the gathering stuff is basically like another calendar, and you can just say whether or not you're going to be there?
Yeah. At the moment, it's going to be a partial calendar. Some local seneschals, for local activities and whatnot, may add in all of their activities, whether or not they need waivers. Some may not. They may only say, I'm only going to put in right now the gatherings that need waivers. And so it won't completely duplicate the Kingdom calendar right now, and it won't completely duplicate the local calendar right now, but it has enough features baked into it, and kind of the vision is to render kind of those manually updated calendars obsolete in favor of this.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, that's the future goal. We're not there yet, but you're on the right train of thought with that. Okay, so I'm already logged in. Let me log out just to show you the When you go to amp.ansteorra.org, you're going to see this login. For this demo, I'm doing this in our UAT environment, test environment. This way I can demo through the features and I don't have to worry about like accidentally exposing somebody's real information, because I don't want to do that, because that would not be responsible. From the home page, no account needed, nothing whatsoever. You can always submit award recommendations to the Crown, to the Principality, to your local landed nobles. If you click on this, it's our standard award recommendation form. You tell us who are you, SCA name, contact email, optionally a phone number, who are you recommending, and so you can search in here. If the person that you're searching for has an AMP account, you'll be able to select their name from a list. In this form, it won't change anything for you, but behind the scenes, if that person has shared their court preferences, or even if they've indicated like what events they're going to, that information will get attached to their recommendations so the nobility can see that. And then you choose, what type of award is it? Sable Garland. Type in your reason for the recommendation, right? As much or as little as you want. And then if you have a sense for gatherings that person might attend, you can select those here and then submit your recommendation. Now, if you submit a rec, you're not logged in, it's not going to get attached to your account as saying you submitted this once in the past, because you're not logged in, so we can't make the connection. So really what we recommend is if you don't have an account, create one. You can click the new user, register here, fill in basic information about your account. We need to have email address and date of birth. Date of birth is absolutely required because we need to be able to distinguish youth accounts from adults, because there's a different handling process when it comes to security. And then if you have an active membership, you can upload a copy of that here, and the AMP admins will get a little action item to review that, and we'll get your membership information on your account. Now, my test user already has an account, so y'all get to watch me type. It's gonna work. Hey, I remember the password. So I'm using Iris, who's our basic user in AMP. Iris has no offices, has no authorizations. Well, they might have authorizations. We request a lot with Iris. But generally, this has just kind of the minimal account. So top right, first thing I want to point out is there's a big button that says support. If you click that button, that will take you, it's an invite link for the AMP Discord server. The Discord server is the best place to message the support team if you're having issues, if you have questions. All of us are really pretty responsive via Discord. It's the fastest way to get to us. And so we can either help you, troubleshoot, or if we're finding bugs, we'll make note of that and put it into our action queue. Also at the top of the page, you have the submit updated SCA info. In the event that you renew your membership, yay! We need to be able to reflect that on your profile. So if you submit a screenshot of your membership and click submit, again, we'll get an action item, we'll review it and put it on your profile. You can also
add a clarification to that statement real quick.
Yeah.
What you upload needs to include your membership number, your legal name, or your SCA name. We don't care which, but one of the two. And the expiration date. Unfortunately, a lot of times we get maybe just a membership number, or people will send us the invoice. Fortunately, the invoice doesn't have a membership number, so we can't verify it. So we need to see those three things: name, membership number, expiration date. Yep. Your digital card that you get from the SCA totally works. Screenshot that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that screenshot is basically makes sure that somebody on the admin team says, yep, this is a screenshot from an SCA.org source that has that information. Good to go. This process of updating our AMP profiles with the society expiration is manual right now. We have a long-standing quest to automate it, but that will take some time. So for now, just use the button when it gets updated. Name, member number, expiration date. screenshot it from your SCA portal or something equivalent, and that'll get you done. Everything else on your profile you can edit at any point in time. If you change your SCA name, pronouns, pronunciation, if you change groups, if you get a new email address, you move, all that you can just edit on your profile anytime you like. Two other things on kind of your basic profile I want to point out. Your profile will have a status. So status by default, once you log in, your status is active. You've activated your account. But the status you really want to see if you need to be warranted is verified. And so verifying your account just means you've submitted your membership card or a screenshot of it, and an admin has added it to your profile. So once we do that, this active goes away and this little message goes away. If you're pursuing offices, you want to be warrantable. More specifically, you have to be warrantable in order to take a warranted office. If your account profile doesn't have the things that are required by society to be warranted, this warrantable will say no, and there'll be a little list of text down here showing you exactly what's missing. So in this case, the membership hasn't been verified, there's no address set, and there's no phone number. Those are required by society. We don't add anything on top of that. All right, other features of your profile. You can view authorizations, anything you have active, any authorizations you have pending. This is a test account, so we request authorizations for this user all the time. And then if you had any authorizations that have expired, those would show up as well. You can do the same for offices. I'm going to skip a word recs for a second. Any roles that you have, if you have an office that needs to grant special permissions, you get a role attached to that, so you just get a record of that. And then you can also see for any upcoming or past gatherings that you are attending. On submitted award recommendations, if you submit them while logged in, you'll get a history of recommendations added to your profile. And so you'll be able to view it, when you submitted it, what was it for, reason. But you will notice this doesn't give you the status of those award recommendations. The Kingdom OP or your local OP is going to be the go-to place to say, okay, but did this person get that award? Go check the OP. In the future, there's potential for it to us to have integrations between the two systems, but right now that's not a thing that we support. And then the last thing I want to point out is this additional information. Some folks we wanted to give a mechanism for you to communicate to the Crown your court preferences. This has been a request across the kingdom for a long time, and AMP lets you do it. If you don't have preferences, just leave it blank. But if you never ever want to get called into court, you put that on your profile. If somebody submits a recommendation for you, or the Crown's got one in the system, this will be attached to it. And so the court and whoever's helping them with court prep will be able to see that, and they'll be able to plan for it. You can also say, you don't have to tell me, but please notify another person or persons, and you can put those names in on here as well. Person 1, person 2. If some folks either have kids, so they've got to leave early, or they have morning work, so they'll never make morning court. You can say, if I'll be available at morning court, you can put that in there. Or you can drop in your OP ID just for convenience. Click submit. And now those are saved to your profile. Okay. There's two ways when you're logged in to submit award recommendations. One, from your profile, you click on that award recs tab, you click the submit award recommendation button. You'll notice this doesn't ask you who you are because you're logged in. So we just grab that from your profile and attach it to the recommendations behind the scene. So you can submit recommendations even faster. And then the other way is on your menu. If you expand members, you get the link to your profile, and then right below that is another submit button. Those take you to the same page. The last, and this is this is second to last big feature that I'm going to talk about. Talk about gatherings, and I'm going to talk about mobile. Gatherings. So this is new. The gatherings module lets you see essentially a calendar. Right now, the gatherings module and the waivers module are released as part of like a slow rollout. The big thing we were trying to tackle was improving waiver management. But in order to be able to submit a waiver for a gathering, you have to have that gathering in the system. And so we built the gatherings module with future features in mind. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here that we want folks to play with. But by default, you can view the calendar. I think the default is just showing you everything. You can filter. So if I want to filter by Barony of Stargate, right, then I can filter it down by group. If I want to filter by the Kingdom of Ansteorra, I can do that as well. And you can filter by type of marshal activity, what other activities are going to be there, and even by start and end date. So that's pretty neat. But let me put this back on Stargate. So from here, you can view a gathering. Find today. Here, this is one I created earlier today for the Seneschal's class, but it'll work for this one too. If you click on a gathering, you can see when it is. If there's a location, that'll be either filled in or say TBD. It'll list you the activities that are set to happen at that gathering. You can click to view the full details, and this will bring you essentially like a web page that's automatically built based on the information that's in this gathering. And hopefully you can kind of see the vision of, if we can automatically create our events in here, less work to have to manually create web pages in the future. That's the thought. Right now, it's something you can view. You can see who created it, when it starts. If there's planned activities or a schedule, you'll be able to see those. Let me click on, which was the one that had the details on it.
You want the fully populated
JP built
one?
out War of the Rams.
War of the Rams. Okay. Oh. Beep. So right, the more details that have been filled in by the Seneschal, by the Kingdom Calendar Deputy, the more details you'll see in this preview. And so if I click on full details for War of the Rams again, you see there's a little bit of a description. It's planned activities, the location with the map integration. And so there's a lot of things baked in there.
Sorry, Kofi, I thought he put the schedule in there.
That's okay.
I'll throw a link to, we went ahead and fully populated Bringolad's coming up event, so I'll put that in the chat for people to go see a fully populated.
Oh, perfect. That would be really helpful.
Sable Soldier also is fully populated.
When is that? What date is that? That's coming up, right?
Well, yeah, but you're in UAT.
Oh, I am in UAT. All right, I'll just stick with what I got. So other things to point out for kind of the general user for activities. The full details, like the web pages that are automatically generated for that, are cool, and we want you to explore them. But the feature that can be helpful for nobility or even your local group is this: we've built in the ability for you to mark your attendance. So if you click on that on any gathering, you have the option to mark your attendance. So if you click mark your attendance and share with Kingdom, then anyone who is logged in, who has an account and is logged in, will be able to see that you are attending that event. So if I do that, I can pull this back up. Now there's a little attendees that says, I'm attending this gathering, and my name shows up. That would be, if you share with the Kingdom, everyone can see that. You don't have to do that. You can share only with the hosting group. So the event creator, local Seneschal, those folks will be able to say that you're attending. And you'll notice that my name of this user no longer appears because it's not shared with the Kingdom. And then the one that I know our nobility will appreciate is that you can share your attendance with the nobility and the crown. And this, one of the things that this will do is that when the nobility are trying to schedule, I want to give this award to this person, and I'm looking at the list of events. If that person has shared their planned attendance, there'll be a little asterisk next to the events where that is. And so it doesn't guarantee that every person will be at every court that they've been called into, but it does get us a little more likely. So I highly recommend that if folks have things that they're going to, come on in AMP, share your attendance with the nobility, so they get that little indicator there. So calendar view, right? You can see things that are going on, filtered by group. But also, if I go back to your main profile, that gatherings tab, you can also just click in here and just select gatherings that are coming up and RSVP that way. If you don't want to have to click through the calendar to do things, you could just pull them out of the list. And this will show things that are, I think, everything that's upcoming. So as we, in the live version, that may end up being kind of a long list.
And if people do RSVP but don't click any of those boxes, so you know your name doesn't show up anywhere, but your count is shown to the event stewards and the seneschal, so they'll know X number of people have RSVP'd. Mm-hmm. They might not know who they are. If you don't share your name either with the event stewards or with the kingdom, they won't know who you are, but they'll know X number of people. So you could just, if you just want to make sure that, let's say, this becomes a thing and people want to know, hey, how much feast should we buy, mm-hmm. and this becomes common, then the event stewards might look at this, hey, we've got 100 RSVPs. We know we're going to have at least this much feast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And when I get to my slide of like features that are coming up, there'll be a couple of other fun future things that we can mention too. All right, so the last kind of big feature that I'm going to demo is the mobile view. So when you log into AMP on desktop, if you want to, but on a phone, this is where it's the most useful. There's a button at the top of the page called Mobile. If you click on that, it will take you to a mobile-friendly version of AMP that has a much more limited view. So in the middle, if you, it'll show you your kind of basic information about you, membership information, SCA name, branch, and if you have any authorizations, this will show up here. So it's a way to have like a mobile fighter card, authorization card. But the menu, as a basic user, gives you the new and improved way to request an authorization. I'm on desktop at the moment, so it looks huge. But the menu on mobile gives you two choices. You can either request an authorization. So if you click on that, you get a real streamlined menu that you say, we're going to request an authorization for driving. And you'll see it says there's no one who can approve this activity. So that's a problem. But let's go to something where I know there is approvers. Activity called Rapier. In our demo environment, we have Gayron, the Kingdom Rapier Marshal, who can approve it, and so I can submit a request for that. Now, at this point, I got a nastygram because I already have a pending request for that activity. And so I could go through and see if I can find one that I haven't requested. And it says the authorization has been requested. So that marshal will then get an action item in their queue that says, hey, there's an authorization request you need to approve. From mobile, you also have the option to switch back to desktop. So if you need to say, I need to go through and look at gatherings, or I need to edit my profile, something like that, you can hop back and forth between mobile and desktop. And then once you are on this mobile card, on your Android devices, if you hit the menu at the top and scroll down to Add to Home Screen, it'll give you the option to install this web app as an app on your phone. And so you can open your phone, tap it, and you'll have your mobile auth card. And then if you need to, you can jump straight to desktop. So it's a much more streamlined way to get to AMP. And then on Apple devices, if you're on the mobile menu at the bottom, it should have a share icon. It's a little rectangle with an arrow. If you click that, you can also get to the add to home screen or save to home screen. Similar process, just the menus in two different spots on the different distros. And this yellow page, the rest of it needs to be online, but this yellow page, once you've loaded it onto your phone, will work, and you've turned it into a home screen app, will work online or offline.
So you can get your authorization card, go hit the web page once before you head out to an event, and then whether the event has cell coverage or not, your authorization card will be current. That's why one of the things we show is last refresh time, so we'll know the last time that your authorization card was connected to a server.
Yep.
But yeah, this works offline once you've added it to your home screen.
If you try to hop back to desktop, then you will need an internet connection for that to load, or data. You need something. But the other neat thing is, so say you are going to requesting your authorizations for the first time. So I submitted an authorization just now for a CNT. If the person, the authorizing marshal, is standing next to me, they can also pull up AMP on their phone, hit the menu. They'll have a button that says approve authorizations, and then they can go and approve it right there while you're standing next to each other at practice. So it should help make our authorizations go super smooth and much faster. Way less checking of emails. Alrighty. I think those are all the main features that I was going to talk about. So before I go back to my slides, are there any questions or things that you want me to go back to from folks in the call? Kenna.
Just so that people, some of our folks here in the Shadowlands know, if you're submitting an award recommendation, where can you find what those mean? Like what all the awards are?
So in AMP, let me just pull up Service, Sable Sparrow. There is a field right below them that describes what each one is. So if you're in AMP already and you're just clicking through, that's one way to do it. But the Ansteorra.org/heraldry has, I think it's like the cheat sheet table of awards for Ansteorra. That is going to be the best place for newcomers to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Link in chat.
Yay, thank you. And then for like your local groups, if they have their awards in AMP, right, we'll have a description, but for like a summary for like local awards, you'd have to go to their website because those aren't currently centralized. Any other questions before I go back to my last couple of slides? All right, give me just a second. Go shuffle my windows around. Oh. Let's show. All right, so we're back on my slides. We're not going to repeat the demo. If you need it in this slide deck, again, it'll be on the AMP resource page and in the library. I also have a recorded demo of like downloading the mobile app. If you want to see it done actually on a phone, I did a screen capture. So that is in there, and you get to see my cat. I already talked through this, but this is a slide that talks about new features for marshals. So right, they've got the viewing action items to say you've got pending authorization requests. They can approve and deny authorizations now from mobile very easily. And then this is the only mention I'll talk about it in this class, but marshal officers will also be able to upload waivers from their phone, like at the end of practice. And we did training for that in the all marshal meeting, but there'll also be stuff distributed through the library and AMP resources if y'all need to dive deeper into those. Last thing, just for information, so folks kind of understand what other sorts of users we've got running around. Local warranted officers, regional marshal officers. There are folks who can upload waivers directly to the Ansteorra Waiver Secretary. Our local seneschals get permissions to add and manage gatherings and assign deputy seneschals like event stewards. Regional and kingdom officers can assign officers within their reporting chain. And again, if you're looking at your profile and you expect an office to be there and it's not, Your regional and kingdom officers are going to be the first people to poke, because more likely they just need to go in the system and appoint you. Our great officers can generate rosters, marshal activity authorization reports, and then they can submit those rosters to the Crown or export them for their own reporting. And then our seated nobility can view and process award recommendations. And then we have a few kind of unique user types. Our calendar deputy, Kingdom Ansteorra waiver secretary, and the marshal secretary each also have special permissions that are appropriate for their jobs. What's next for AMP? So the team and the seated royalty, crown and heirs, usually meet regularly, monthly-ish, to collaborate, see where we are, see where we want to go next for AMP. And so our next kind of two big ones that we've identified we're going to work on is the July. We're expecting to do another round of updates to the award module. This will let the nobility combine multiple recommendations into one. Allowing the nobility to delegate awards to staff in order to streamline court prep, and then allowing complex approvals where things like landed nobility and the crown both need to, apply, give their thumbs up to giving out an award. Local service orders are the big one that comes to mind. So those are going to be kind of during the summer as folks are trying out gatherings and waivers. We're going to do some more features in the award module. And at the end of the year, December, January, we're hoping to add support for dynamic forms. This will excitingly pave the way for allowing the Crown to, send out polling of orders, for example, or supporting adding officer reports or adding activity signups to those gatherings. So not only could you say, I'm planning to attend this event, I'm also going to sign up for the arts and sciences competition and pick up a gate shift, and who knows what else. There's so much potential once we add that support in there. And then we're also in the process of onboarding another kingdom who wants their own instance of AMP, which is exciting. It'll be the first time we've onboarded another kingdom fully to the new system, and so that'll also help us figure out like what haven't we seen? What other features do we need to add? Is there anything that their kingdom uses that we want into the core functionality, or vice versa? Okay, so we're at the end of the slides. Yay! AMP is awesome. Officers, marshals, and fighters have to have an account. By default, you get a lot of features on your profile. And at the moment, we encourage you to keep your membership information up to date if you're, taking offices or something like that. Submit award recommendations, and then also try out that gatherings module and let us know if you run into problems. And again, the best place to get the team, if you need help, is to click that support button at the top and hop over to the Discord server. That is where we are all in, and we are all very responsive. So that's it for the slides. It's now time for Q&A. If you got them, now's the time. Yeah. Also, Jillian, Martin, y'all are both in here. If y'all have any other things you want to add, jump in with that as well.
Well, I do actually. I want to do a big shout out to Aubrey from Wiesenfeuer for being the first person to upload waivers in AMP.
Woo!
That's awesome.
That is very exciting.
So, yes, today we've gotten in AMP 10 gatherings created, and so far one of them has had their waivers uploaded, so it's done.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Good job, everybody. Nadia, I see you have a question.
Yeah, I was sorry. I was talking with Martin about it in the chat, but I wanted to put it in voice as well. That it would be very useful for marshals to be able to look up people's authorizations without necessarily having to have them show you the card. Like if you need to check for a report or something. So would you like that in a feedback email, or is that something that y'all have thought about already?
I can't. It's not something we've talked about recently.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge I mentioned in the chat. The challenge is we're trying to be very careful with PII and any kind of mechanism to share PII. So we just have to think through how do we do that in a way that is protective of people's privacy. That being said, we were also talking about the idea of people pre-registering for activities on gatherings. It's kind of a future thing, like pre-registering for a tournament, as an example. And then the list mistresses might be able to, because the person pre-registered for the tournament, the list mistresses could verify their authorization because there's some kind of implicit acceptance that if you're pre-registering for a tournament that you're agreeing to let other people know that you're going to be in a tournament, at least the list mistresses. So we should have to work through list coordinator. Thank you. We need to work through how we do that in a way that's safe and responsible.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know that it's any more of a privacy issue than, signing up for a tournament ahead of time. But being able to see things like, oh, this person is authorized to participate in these experiments or something like that.
Yeah, it's a push-pull thing, right? So if they push the information to us, if they push the information from them to somebody, there's a gift, like they're saying you can do it. But if I were to open up a web endpoint to let you look up by email addresses whether or not what somebody's authorizations are, you need to have enough information in that email address was really them. So that means you need to know probably membership number, maybe their SRE name, maybe their group, all their authorizations. And so that becomes a corpus of information that you can go pull without their permission.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, the push-pull of it, right?
Yeah. Another consideration we have to be careful of when we're doing this kind of pull of information is authorizations can also expose is this a youth or an adult, which is another kind of exposure of information that we try to be very careful about. Because programmatically, being able to programmatically be like, yeah, let's find out if all these, which one of these are kids. We have to be thoughtful about it. So I think we're kind of on, it's not a no, but there are definitely considerations that we'd have to take into account. And I think having it be like a push system would that gives the, this person is giving us their information rather than us taking it.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a good question, though. We'll keep it in mind. See a hand from Nancy.
Actually, this is Michael.
Michael.
On the gatherings, will we be able to search for instance, the type of practice? Say I want to know all the archery practice in the kingdom this weekend. Will I be able to search for that?
Yep, that's one of the filters that you can. There's a filter button at the top, and so you, from the calendar, you can just filter on activity type, and that'll show them to you. Since this is the fresh deployment, and the kind of guidance to seneschals at this point is they are the module is new. We recommend they start trying it out, adding their gatherings, using it, and their local officers to upload waivers, but it's not mandatory at this point to use. So there's going to be kind of an onboarding transition period where some activities will be in AMP, but we might not see everything right away. So just bear that in mind as it's still new and growing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Kenna, I see a hand.
So since Shadowlands is a lot of college kids, we have several people who play in Shadowlands but don't have a permanent address here. So when they put their address in for AMP, should they use their actual permanent home address, or should they use an address in Shadowlands to show their actual group? I
think safest answer will be whatever address they're using for their membership.
Okay.
And then in AMP, you can, if their address is, their parents' house in Oklahoma or wherever, but they're playing, active in Shadowlands on their profile, they can just put their group as Shadowlands. So for kind of our purposes, I think that would be the safest way to do it.
And you only need to put your address or phone number in if you plan to take an office.
Yeah.
If you don't plan to take an office, that information is not required. We only require it because society requires it for offices to grant warrants to those people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to help. All right, we got 7 more minutes in this hour. Yeah. So now's the time for final questions.
This is where I say that if you're a software developer or maybe a college student interested in getting more software development experience, the AMP team is always looking for more tools.
Just having that 3 or 4 month time working as a developer for a open source nonprofit administration tool. Those things look good on resumes. Alrighty. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending. The more folks we know about it, the more folks who use AMP, the better it gets. As always, feel free to reach out to the AMP team if you have questions, and especially if you run into issues. And I hope everybody continues to enjoy the rest of their roundtable. I'm going to call this the kind of end of the meeting, and we just have the last few minutes to kind of transition away and move on to our next hour. I see you, Seneca.
I'm going to admit I had to leave for a little while and come back, so I missed part of this. Okay. But who can actually add the calendar items to AMP? Is it only the Seneschal, or will Marshals also have the ability to do that as well?
Yeah, so at the moment, it is the local Seneschals and the calendar deputy. We are already thinking through how to basically allow the Seneschal to delegate that kind of calendar gathering management to deputies or other officers, but that's not in yet. So right now it's local Seneschal and calendar deputy, and that is starting with the local Seneschal because the Seneschals are the ones who in their monthly reporting have to report on like gatherings and waivers, and so they're the ones responsible for it. So that's where we started.
And you also, it's a one for like practices. It's very low friction because once they create the first practice, they can clone them.
Just duplicate them. Yeah.
So you click clone and then you change the date and you hit save, and you click clone, you change the date, you hit save. So they can literally, once you get the first one set up, assuming your practices don't change a whole lot, like what actually happens in a practice, you could spit out a month's worth of practices in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking about was, sometimes last minute practices have to get canceled. And so, you want to get that out there as quickly as possible. So that's why I was kind of trying to figure out the logistics behind that.
Yeah. And as far as the waivers are concerned, if a practice gets canceled, you can attest that the event didn't happen. So if you're like, oh, I forgot to delete that practice, or I got to cancel that practice, they just go and attest it didn't happen in their waiver submission process.
Yeah, and so local Seneschals will be creating the gatherings for now, but like your local marshal officers, they will be able to use their mobile app and upload waivers once those gatherings are created to spread the load on that one. Yeah. Any chance of tying Zapier into that gathering process? Koke, what are you thinking there?
Well, the way that you can have an officer update in one place and it updates in other places, if, say, you cancel the event in AMP, if it would cancel it in other places or get that word out in other places, if there's any way to tie it into that Zapier chain to...
Well, we'd like coming up with something a webhook metaphor. We'd have to work through. There's complexity in doing that's on architectural.
Yeah, that definitely sounded like a super complicated ask.
Yeah, and Zapier happens to be a system that has hundreds of connectors that they have built. They've built them on the idea that they will make money off of them. I don't think AMP meets their requirements. They may have an open webhook interface or something, but then we'd have to really dig into how we want to do that in a way that's, again, it's very important for us to be secure and safe with everybody's information.
Yeah.
And so we're constantly making sure that whatever we do is through the lens of privacy.
Yep. And I think what's more likely to happen, instead of, having, because right now most of our local groups use Google Calendar, right, to manage their events and activities. And right now we have AMP, which is kind of doing a partial duplication of that. I think the vision, or I think what was more likely to happen, is that those public-facing Google calendars and the event web pages and practice pages and whatnot will likely be replaced with AMP. So it'll be, there's a central place that things get updated, and those are just public, appropriately protected, but public information about those activities.
Yeah, I like that you could see that event page even from a web page that's not logged in. So groups could use that as their event page.
Yep.
That is
and
amazing.
The gatherings, I didn't go into the details of it here, but we've already got Seneschals can start exploring with their gatherings. They can appoint staff to the gatherings. They can start adding schedules. They can what's the other big ones? I think those are the two big ones that we've already this module has already had those features baked in, with exactly the idea of let's kind of replace these manual calendars with something that's automated and centralized. Kenna.
So in the future, is there going to be any ability to sync our calendar on our website with that in AMP?
Yeah, this kind of is touching on the same thing of using Zapier to do the syncing back and forth.
Okay.
I think more likely based on where we're at right now, we're more likely to replace your Kingdom calendar with AMP pages rather than trying to sync up the two disparate ones. That's not something that's, with the roadmap, it was that's not something that we're going to be working on in the next bit of time, because we want folks to fully on board to the module and whatnot. But I think that's more likely the direction we'll go, rather than trying to custom write Google Calendar or WordPress integrations with AMP.
Yeah, so probably some type of iframe scenario down the road where a barony could be put this iframe in, and there's a flag in there that tells AMP to filter to their barony, and then just drop that on their webpage, and it just works.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. I love it, though. This is the kind of things we want people to think about. All right, we are now at the top of the hour, so I'm going to free this room up for the last meeting of the day. And if folks need to jump rooms, now's the time to do it. Thank you all again for attending. I hope you have fun with AMP.